Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Sportscast Podcast. This week we'll look back at the action midweek from the UEFA Champions League, as well as a roundup of this week's Premier League action over the weekend. We'll take a look at the Chinese Formula One Grand Prix and touch on the snooker. Join us now.
James Jordan, hello.
Hello.
How are we?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Jordan, you well?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. Starting point. I know we spoke about my question as a starting point, but I think we should leave it towards the end because it's been an action-packed weekend, really.
Yeah, it's been pretty good, to be fair. We've had an action-packed week, really. We had a Champions League midweek. We've had, I'd say, one decent FA Cup game this weekend, and then some pretty
Decent's an understatement, isn't it?
Yeah. And then the Formula One, we've had snooker, we've had a fair bit. Where do you want to start?
I think that Man United Coventry game.
Yeah.
I know James might not have caught a lot of it, probably caught the tail end.
Yeah, I caught the penalties at the end, yeah.
God, what a game. And either team could have won it in extra time as well.
Mm.
It's a shame that Manchester United did, because that would have been pretty decent if City versus Coventry.
Yeah, and I mean, I say either team could have won it. Coventry, we thought, did win it with a disallowed goal in the 120th minute, 121st minute.
No way.
Yeah, there was an offside in the build-up to play, and he was offside. There's no getting around that, but an absolute collapse from United. At 3-0, I put the snooker on for a little bit and then came back to it at 3-3. I couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah.
Seen the goals and that, some good finishes, a bit lucky with one of them, but I think that'd have cost Ten Hag his job.
You think?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I think they're not overly happy and they're touting a few people in the background. I think that would have cost him his job.
Mm. Interesting. I know that they're obviously not doing fantastic in the league at the minute anyway, but
I think winless in 4, I think. Yeah,
the general feeling is among the fans is one of kind of a little bit unhappy at the minute, I think. There is a little bit of certainty around ownership and stuff like that, but I don't think it's satisfied. I don't think it's satisfied the fans.
No.
Really.
No, I'd agree with that. I think that's the thing. Big club, big history. They need to be competing at top level. There's no two ways about that. Talking about the top level, you're top of the table, James.
For now, yeah, it was pardon me, it was a good win yesterday. I watched the first half yesterday, and it didn't really show any signs of setting the world on fire. But it's a good win. But Liverpool got a good win today as well to chase us down.
Yep.
And City have got the game in hand.
Yeah, when did they play that? Did they play that midweek? Or was it back into the week after?
They are playing
because you guys play Chelsea midweek, don't you?
Yeah, we've got Chelsea on Tuesday, and City are playing Thursday against Brighton. So they'll still have that game in hand.
Yeah, that's not a gimme against Brighton.
No, at Brighton as well.
Yeah, Brighton. The hanging around the Europa League spaces, Europa Conference. They've got to do more. What about midweek? I thought you guys were a little bit unlucky.
Oh, in the Champions League.
Do
you know? Yes, unlucky, but we should have done it in the first leg just to be comfortable. I don't think on Tuesday.
Yeah,
it was Tuesday, wasn't it? I don't think they set again. They didn't come out and perform massively well. I think they kind of had one eye on the weekend to ensure that they could take advantage over City, who were obviously playing in the FA Cup. But It is what it is. Out of the Champions League.
At the end of the day, though, these guys are paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. If they can't play 3 games of football in a week, I get it's the physicality of the game, the Champions League, then straight into the weekend. Then straight into like Premier League at the weekend, and then playing again midweek this week. But I mean, you want to win a treble. I mean, you can't because obviously the FA Cup. But I mean, like for example, City prove they can do the treble. United have done the treble before. You want to win all 3 kind of trophies, you've got to play every single game. You've got to play every single game to win. Like, you can't kind of not play midweek because you've got the Premier League is your preferential tournament kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, and I get that. And I've very much been on the same wavelength for years over that as well. Multi-million-pound players, that's 90 minutes of football. I agree with you, and this is why teams have big squads, because the idea is you got the squad to rotate the players. I think Pep Guardiola done an interview after their game on Wednesday. Yesterday. Sorry.
Yesterday, yeah.
And he put it quite well. Yeah, it is physically demanding. I get it, but it is mentally demanding as well. You've got City who have just played in Madrid on a Wednesday night. They fly back. They've got a day rest, and then they're back been back at it again. So I do think it was. The problem is when you put the games on for fans to buy tickets, you don't know where they're going to be at the time. I do think it was pretty poor for City to play Wednesday and then be the Saturday game when Chelsea haven't played, Manchester United and Coventry all haven't played midweek. I do think that was poor from
planning perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. I also think it would be very poor to put both British teams or English teams on the same day, like Arsenal and City on at the same time, same day. I know all Champions League generally kicks off at 8:00, but if you're going to put 2 English teams on, big English teams, stick one on at 5:15 and then the other one at 8:00.
Well, they played Tuesday, Wednesday, didn't they? City played Wednesday.
No,
Arsenal played Tuesday.
Both Tuesday.
Yeah, they both played on Wednesday.
Oh, did they? Both played Wednesday or Tuesday? They both played the same day, definitely.
No, they didn't. They
did. Tuesday was Dortmund and the PSG Barcelona game.
Oh yes, it was. Yes, apologies. Yeah, Sunday today.
Sunday today.
All day.
Yes, all day. Yes, apologies, gents.
Yeah, so you've got both Arsenal and City playing. I mean, Arsenal were away, so they've got to come back from Germany. Yes, City were at home, but there's that Thursday, Friday, and then you're back into it again. And I know they paid a lot of money, and footballers are not just footballers now, are they? They are athletes. They are, they're proper. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's all done on that statistical point of view as well. But mentally, that must be absolutely draining, because I know Haaland and De Bruyne are asked to come off, didn't they, against Real Madrid, because they were just knackered.
So the other side of the coin is as well. You look at Spurs; they've not been in Europe this year. They've gone out of the FA Cup fairly early. They've gone out of the Carabao Cup. I think, that's all I want to say. I think competitive games this year they might have played, by the time the Premier League's over, I think they've played about 42. The Championship have got 46 before you even incorporate. You're in the FA Cup from round 3 as well. You're in the Carabao Cup earlier. You're in, there's much more games at them levels, and they're paid less.
There is, but the quality as such is less as well. So the game isn't as fast as. The Championship you could probably put on par with it. Yes, but
it's as fast as they can handle.
I get what you're saying about Spurs, though. Why aren't they topping the Premier League with players that have got 100% energy levels every single Premier League game? They're not playing in UCL. They're not playing in Europa League. They're not.
The really annoying thing for me is obviously the other news to come out this week is the scrapping of the FA Cup replays, and I think that's disastrous. At the end of the season, so that the game finishes on the Sunday, 3 days later, Newcastle play Tottenham in a friendly in Australia.
Yeah, I don't quite get that.
I understand they're not. You're not going to have your first 11s out. But don't complain about fixtures and then do these exhibition things.
Yeah, I agree.
It's daft, And I think the big one was Brentford their manager coming out and sort of saying that it's too much for these players, blah, 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 blah. 7 years ago, Brentford were down there relying on the revenue of these replays. So I think it's a bit hypocritical in my eyes.
I think they're losing the replays as well. A lot of I get why they're doing it, because I'm all right in saying that the stat that came out in the last 8 years has only been 2 times where lower league clubs have had Premier League clubs come back to them, or vice versa or something. So yes. I get why they're doing it from that perspective, but those lower league clubs that do get that replay then get the gate receipts when they go back to theirs, and it helps them financially. So I'm wondering, is there going to be some sort of financial compensation for losing these?
No.
Or are the top dogs basically going, look, if you can't get it done in the first game, that's on you. If you're shit, that's your problem.
Pretty much, I think, yeah.
So just to touch on UCL, then we've got Bayern, Real Madrid, Dortmund, and PSG in the semis. Who's making it to the final? So you've got Bayern, Real Madrid on Tuesday, and then Dortmund, PSG on Wednesday.
It's a PSG Madrid final, isn't it?
Well, I'm
going to go a little outside the box there and say a Madrid Dortmund.
No.
I can't say that. I'll be honest. I genuinely.
No?
I think PSG have got that nailed on against Dortmund, but
yeah.
I don't know. Bayern haven't had a good season at all. Sorry, wouldn't even have to say the best of seasons. They've had an atrocious season in the Bundesliga. Maybe they are out for the UCL to kind of say sorry to fans and to try and get Harry Kane some silver.
Maybe James was onto something. Dortmund. I wouldn't have had Dortmund to beat Atletico Madrid. So I wouldn't have had that. So.
I mean, you've got Mbappe at PSG. Maybe he'll want to get that Champions League before he goes. But then, I mean, even if he does go, he'll probably get it with Madrid next season anyway. But
yeah,
I think it'd be interesting, a Madrid-Dortmund final.
Okay. Talking of other outsiders, we had an outsider win the Chinese Grand Prix today.
Yeah, Max Verstappen, not one for
a week. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks.
Sure. He's slacking, isn't he? He's slacking.
He is slacking. I really enjoyed the return of the Chinese Grand Prix.
It was brilliant.
It was fantastic. We had a sprint weekend as well.
Sorry, Jordan, what does a sprint weekend? What's that?
So I think it's 4 or 5 weeks. Is it 4 or 5?
5, I think.
5. Yeah. 4 or 5 weekends in the calendar where we basically have an additional smaller race. So they only have 1 practice session rather than the 3. We have a sprint qualifying, which is a shortened version of the longer qualifying. And then there is also a sprint race, which is usually a third or a quarter of the overall race distance. I think it's a third in this case. So rather than being 59 laps, it was only 19 laps. And basically, there's no kind of pit stop
rules. Yeah,
all it is basically is an outright fight for points. It is reduced points. It is only 8 points down to 8 points for first, down to 1 point for 8th. But even so, these kind of points, especially for the lower teams, do mean extra money and extra revenue and extra prize money and everything else. So they are worth going after. And the racing, typically, that you get in sprints, Liam, is fantastic, isn't it?
I've not seen. I mean, there was a little bit of, once Max took the lead, he ran away with it a little bit. But because I don't know what it is, I think there's less time management, there's less fuel management. It's just go out racing. Just go. Shoot.
Absolutely.
It does make it a lot better.
It's like a 4-lap battle between Perez, Leclerc, and Sainz, and it was just fantastic. Sorry, no, not even those 3. It was Alonso as well. Alonso in 3rd place, running pretty decent, really, really, really decent race. Just kind of came into Sainz's DRS range. They had a battle, I would say it's a racing incident, unfortunately. Alonso gets a puncture, which allows Perez just to slide on through, takes 3rd, Hamilton second and Verstappen first, which is great for Hamilton, considering where he qualified for the actual race.
I was going to say until Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. So no, it was a fantastic sprint. Really bad day for Lando Norris in the sprint. Finished going from pole to all the way down to sixth in literally the first corner, and then stopped there. On the flip side, really outstanding drive from him today, finishing second behind Max.
I think he's been my standout. I know he's been, he has been brilliant. He's probably been, for me, the standout driver so far. I think Piastri sort of didn't outperform him in terms of stats, but in terms of racing and stuff like that, Piastri did very, very well last year. But I think Lando is racing better this year.
I agree, 100%. Piastri was better last year.
Have you seen the fallout of the Danny Rick Lance Stroll scenario?
Yes.
Do you think who's to blame? And now I've seen those two plus a third driver blamed for this. So
without a shadow of a doubt, Lance Stroll is to blame. I'm not just saying that because I don't like Lance Stroll. If you hit anybody from the back, regardless of whether you're a Formula One driver or whether you're Liam from Doncaster and you've hit somebody at the lights because you're a Canadian knobhead. I'm getting really passionate here. He crashed into the back of him. He literally did not press his brake pedal hard enough.
But have you seen? So Danny Rick's got a three place grid penalty next time out.
For what reason?
For harsh braking. So Danny Rick would have been better not braking and going into the driver in front.
So Piastri was in front, and he did go into Piastri a little bit, but that was because Lance bumped him.
He got shunted.
Yeah, but theoretically, I think the FIA or the stewards have got that one totally wrong. We had a bunch up. Don't get me wrong, we had a bunch up. The car in front of Piastri, I don't know who that was, went a little bit more slowly around the hairpin to kind of clear. Yeah. Then Piastri slowed down. Then Ricciardo slowed down. Then Lance steamrolled his way through all fucking four of them. However, where did you want Danny Rick to go? Did you want Danny Rick to just drive straight into the back of Piastri? Did you want Lance had at least a second and a half, which in Formula One is a long time.
Very long time.
A second and a half.
He wasn't looking at the track.
What was he doing?
He was looking at the apex. Look at the apex.
Side of his fucking van.
It's all come out, and then they've said to Piastri, Stroll has said that everyone had to brake really hard, and Oscar said, "Yeah, we did, but we just didn't crash into each other." So yeah, it was a great weekend. Unfortunately, we heard the Dutch national anthem again. I think we'll hear it every weekend unless he retires. I don't think someone will beat him on outright pace. I think it'll be on engine failure. But
I think he is outstanding like Max at the moment. He is creeping towards becoming one of the top 5 racers in my opinion.
Well, Nico did put him in it.
He did. Just to touch on Nico Rosberg.
I couldn't disagree with that top 5.
No, I think that's the most sensible thing he said all weekend because, oh my God, he is the most atrocious voiceover. Probably a really nice guy, like when he's not trying to rip Lewis Hamilton's face off. But, oh my God, he's like the main commentator, I can't remember his name. Crofty. Says, take us through the lap then, Nico. He's like, yeah, so he's braking on here and he hit the apex and let's see what he does next. No, next. Tell me what he's doing now.
I love the fact that like Crofty could go, oh, it's a bit cloudy out today. And Nico would go, no, it's not. It's sunny, but there's clouds in front of the sun. he just
when Sainz and Leclerc had a coming together, and Crofty said, "Oh, I think that was so and so's fault," and he went, "No, I don't." And Crofty went, "Well, why?" He's like, "I'm not going to tell you. I think, that's what I think, and that's it."
I think he just realised if it's controversial, he'll get more gigs. But
maybe, but overall, really, really, really cracking weekend. Really enjoyed watching it. Obviously, constructors wise, Norris, a second place for Norris and a 8th place for Piastri in front of both Mercedes. For me is fantastic because it continues to open that gap up. So no, dead chuffed with this weekend. looking forward to next weekend.
Which is
where? We are in the United States, which is Miami.
It's 2 weeks, I think, isn't it, actually, Miami?
3rd of May. Is it 3rd of May? Oh, no, 2 weeks. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. This weekend also saw the return of the Snooker World Championship. I'll not bore you too much, but game 1 yesterday, Luca Brazil, Dave Gilbert. Luca Brazil's the reigning world champion, has lost in the first round.
Is it a knockout tournament or is it points?
Oh, yeah. No, it's knockout the worlds. Yeah, so not really a bit of a shock. He's openly said he doesn't practice enough. I think he's trying to be a Ronnie O'Sullivan. Yeah, I don't practice. I don't like being labelled a winner. Trying to come out with all that kind of thing. And he's just. I was a little bit surprised he won last year, but the world champion is out, so it's up for grabs. I can't see many beyond Ronnie or Judd Trump, but we shall see. So I have asked James already, Jordan, and James confidently gave me the wrong answer. So something I saw, it relates back to the Masters. It finished last week. Scotty Scheffler, absolutely running away with it. Phenomenal player. If you was to play at the Masters. So, you qualified somehow, but you started on the green at the furthest point from the pin, right? So you was only putting, but from the furthest point on the green. How do you think you do?
Probably atrociously. Like, the greens are ridiculous. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, Bubba Watson's kid absolutely smashed it, but the greens there, like, they are mowed within an inch of their life, and they're mowed in a certain way, and they mowed that like that for like 5 months, just so the ball kind of the grass blends and the kind of the ball will go anywhere. But these professionals read it, and I do not believe that. To be honest with you, I used to play a little bit of golf when I was younger, and putting was my weakest point, so probably atrociously.
James, I said to James to go away and look at the greens.
And that's exactly what I done, because the answer I gave you the other night when you asked me, I was quite quick and confident to say, do you know what? I don't think I'll do that bad. If I'm starting at the edge, I've got on a par 5 opportunities to get it into it par. Yeah. I went and had a little look at those greens, and on with Jordan. I'd be shit. I could, honest to God, those greens are out of this world. Some of them are bloody bigger than a pitch and putt, par 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are unbelievable.
And the terrain, there's like a 10-metre drop and stuff like that. And I kind of thought about it. I thought, I actually, the reverse of Jordan, putting was my strong point of the game. I was really, really good at it. I spent a lot of times around my local course walking the dog with a putter and playing the greens. But the competitiveness in me says that I do pretty well. But just maybe not at Augusta.
Yeah, I think if you'd have put that question to us with a different course, let's say, I don't know, St Andrews or something, you'd be like, yeah, I think I'd do all right. But I think at Augusta, I don't. I'd be happy with anything less than 110.
You say that when we play a normal round of 18.
Maybe I should play with my putter for every stroke.
I've seen you. You do better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was just a very interesting one, and there's some pretty decent amateur players out there that might fare all right. But I just thought, if you was to play the greens, and like you say, par 5 you got 5 goes, but a par 3 you've got 3, and I still think they're getting it in 2, you're not getting it in 2, kind of thing. So I didn't know how you think you'd fare on that one.
Not very good.
No. Well, nice to catch up with you both.
Yeah, Andrew.
I'm sure we'll find some more obscure sports next week.
Yeah, I've got one up and ready to go.
Yeah, well, we'll catch up with you next week, and we'll see how we get on with that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Not a problem. Take care, gents.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sportscast podcast. As normal, you'll get us on our social media, Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, at SportscastPod UK. Join us again next week.